Hi, it's Roni, and welcome to When in Doubt, Add Sequins by the Paper Crafting YouTubers group on Facebook. And today's layout will be featuring this photo right here of my great niece Kayla. I'm going to use that pink fresh dye leafy branches, the hashtag stamp from Stampin' Up, which is pretty old, and then I'm going to be using Simple Stories Vintage Weathered Gardens. Oh, I love that collection. It is so pretty. I am going to use this cardstock here in just a couple of places on the layout, but I'm also going to use it for the leaves, the leafy branch die. I cut that one paper in half and it's going to go on the bottom, but I want something to go with it, of course. So I use that older Fisker's border punch. I am not sure what it is, but it is scalloped and has little holes in it. Um, and I had a strip left over, and that's what I use for the center. And I'm just going to go across the bottom with this, but then I'm going to make a cluster to the bottom right with it. And oh, and I'm going to use one of the frames. This one has yesterday and today and tomorrow on it. And I'm going to put Kayla's picture in it. And it's going to go over to the left-hand side because I have plans for the right-hand side. And my title's going to go on the right-hand side. I'm using pumice stone, distress ink, and I inked the edges of the paper. And then I added some to the paper. It's kind of on the white side, even though there's white little places all in that green paper. I wanted to add a little more of that ink. And I'm using, a couple of stamps from, it's a Studio Light stamp set. Number 11, I think is what it is. They have numbers or something. And I think this one is number 11. I am going to put my photo up on foam tape. Even though it is a chipboard one, I didn't think it'd raise it too much higher. And then I'm going to use one of those garlands from the sticker sheet, and it's going to kind of tuck underneath it just a little bit. And then it's going to tuck underneath that green strip across there too. And like it's kind of hanging up like a garland does. I'm using some strips from the 6x8 paper pad, and I'm going to make 3 little banners down there at the bottom and add myself a cluster there. There was a sticker left over from the last layout I did, or maybe the one before, and it says "You are loved," and it's a tree ring. And I wanted to make sure I used it on this one since somehow or other I neglected to do it on the others. I think I ended up using something else that was the exact same thing. And I'm going to try to do that on here too. The word moments, I start to use it in another form. A lot of the stuff is repeated different ways, and it's so pretty, and they do it a little bit different on each one. And I went ahead and grabbed them out, thinking, oh, that's pretty, and then read it. So they went back, and I tried to use different things on my layout. Well, different words anyway. Uh, my cluster here, I'm tucking my little log ring um, down in underneath the one I put up on foam. And then I'm going to add that branch. And I've been wanting that branch for a little while. I thought it was really pretty. But I have leaves and branches. But I thought, I'm going to go ahead and get it because I can cut it apart. It's long enough that I could cut it apart so I'd only be cutting out one die. And yeah, cutting it apart. So I talked myself into it and I love it. It's just the right size. And the little leaves are embossed too. So, of course, I love that also. But I am cutting it apart and I'm putting it in different spots on here, just trying to fill in and trying to make it look more like a weathered garden. Like they might be growing a little bit wild instead of being gardened, and manicured. Manicured, that's the word I'm looking for. And I fussy cut down some of the white off of the ephemera flowers, so I'm using them on there, and I went ahead and put foam tape on it when I did the fussy cutting. So I'm going to add a couple of them, but I showed that bottle of Got flowers, and I only used the purple out of it. Kayla has a purple shirt on, and it says flower power on it, so it is appropriate to use flowers on here. And she's at a family reunion. Her mama was in the army at the time, and so they traveled back. So I am sure she got to meet a lot of family that she had never met before. Anyway, it was my sister in law's side of the family. And I am, oh, I am working on that cluster that is built into the frame there. I wanted it to look a little more three-dimensional, but not too much since it is chipboard and it's already on foam tape. So I will be adding on top of it a couple of those little purple flowers, and then add some greenery and purple flowers and another one of the really pretty white ones under underneath it, kind of coming out from underneath it. So it'll be 3 layers there instead of just the one. My title is just Memorable Moments. That's a mouthful, two M's right there together. And I used the foam thickers, of course, for the one, but it looked kind of lonely all there by itself. Is why it got that second word. And I looked through them, and that one seemed to be the best to go what was going on in my head anyway. Now, looking at my layout, it looked awful white even after all my stamping and inking up there at the top. So I decided I needed a cluster coming out the top of my photo frame. And so one's going to go there, and then I'll think it needs just a little bit more. So I will be making a cluster at the top too. Yeah, even though I tried to just stick to the bottom and thinking that the inking and stamping would be enough, it wasn't. I had to add more. Quite a bit of the fussy cutting was already done, left over from a couple other layouts. And those moths were one of the things that were already done. But I'm adding 3 there. There are some butterflies in the collection, but those moths are so pretty that I had to fussy cut them anyway. Oh, I forgot I had to add just a little bit more down there at the bottom before I add the little cluster up there at the top. I'm going to make 3 banners just like I had at the bottom, only these are going to be double-ended with the fishtail, and it's just going to kind of cluster itself right there at the top in the biggest empty spot. Although I wanted to repeat the same papers down there at the bottom, I didn't want to repeat the same layering, so I am going to change it out just a little bit. And then I'm going to pull in a sticker, which I'm going to add to white cardstock. But I did cut it out, I think. I think I did. I'm not 100% sure. But so I could put foam tape underneath it and have it raised up just a little bit. And then it's going to say, "This fills my heart." And then I'm going to add some branches, flowers, and cluster around that. Oh, and I do love that die. It cuts like butter. I mean, some of the dies I have to run through several times to get them to cut. Nope, this die once, once was it, and it cut out beautifully. Now, the theme of this month's hop is when in doubt, add sequins. So that's what I'm doing. These are a wood grain with just a hint of green in them. So I thought they'd work perfectly for this layout. But Rachel Talman is the one that hosts these hops every month. She is in charge of the Facebook group, and she has a shop. And in that shop, she does have sequins. I don't have any of them. I planned on getting some, but I guess I procrastinated too long. It got to the point I had to get the layout done. And but I am going to go because it was till the end of the month of March. So there will be a coupon code down there below, which is YouTube20, and the link to Rachel's shop in case you want to go over there and get some sequins for 20% off, which is awesome. And Yeah, see what she even has a monthly club that you can do. So you might want to check that out too. Because when in doubt, add sequins. And also down there below are the links to everybody else that are doing the hop this month. And there's quite a few, so you got plenty to check out. And I really appreciate you stopping and watching my video and checking out my layout. But if you leave a comment below, I'll try to get back with you. And if you like the video and hit a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you subscribe. And those of you already are, thank you so much. Now, aren't those moths pretty? At least I think they are. And there's my stamping. Yeah, to try to fill in that big white area up there at the top. And my cluster that had to sneak itself in there at the last minute. And there's that garland branch. But yeah, I hope you all have a happy, scrappy week and that you have loads of fun on the hop. And there is so much to choose from this month. You have no chance of running out of videos, but have fun. Bye.